Hi there, Christmas is just around the corner, so we're going to need to start putting some attention into making Christmas cards and gift tags. I created a project for the Fancy Friday blog hop where we were looking at Christmas in 3D, and I made this little card with this little 3D, very simple 3D feature. I also made a gift tag to match while I was at it. I think while it is that you're doing your Christmas craft, it's a nice idea to double up on your embellishments as you're making them, and you've got a really quick set of projects made all at the same time. So I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do a tutorial now for you on that card, and I hope that you enjoy it. So I've got all the pieces for the project here. This is the Year of Cheer specialty paper. I just love that foil shimmer. And I'm going to need to die cut my star shape from here. While you've got the Big Shot and the die cutting pieces all here ready to go, cut yourself another star in the same paper and set that one aside. This is one I've prepared earlier. Alright, so what you're left with is the panel with the star cut out, and you've got your spare star ready for your tag. So pop that out of the road. We're going to work on this one first. I've got a folded Whisper White card base. We're just going to adhere that so that the panel is nicely bordered around the white. Now we want to adhere the star back in place through the middle here. Before we do that, I'm going to get my cutting board and I'm going to score a line, which will help give a nice clean fold. And I'm going to paper pierce some stitching through the centre. Then I'm going to use my black pen. I like this one, the Project Life marker, the thinnest one. And connect the dots in a faux stitching look. Now apply a little adhesive to the back of the star across that stitched line. And press it down in place. And now you can lift up the sides. And you've got a very simple 3D feature. In conjunction with that gorgeous foil paper, it really gives a lovely wow factor to your project. I'm going to continue to make just a little bit of a stitched line up here, because if it was really stitch on, it would go a little bit further than just on the star. And now it's time to build the layered embellishments. So the first thing I've got to do is, I might start with the little reindeer. The stamps that I'm using today is called Merry Patterns. If you want to find more about how you can pick up this stamp set for free in the host promotion, please follow along in the link on this blog. I've got a piece of early espresso cardstock. I'm going to use my little embossing buddy before I pop my Versamark on. And while I've got everything here, I'm going to stamp 2 reindeers, one for the card and one for the tag. Now it's time to apply the white heat emboss powder. There we go. And I'll heat set those. So I've finished fussy cutting the 2 little deer, and I have cut some circles. I just had some leftover Christmas paper from last year, but you could use any green on green pattern. So they will layer together. And then I've got some green leaves in the background. So to do those, I've got some scrap pieces here of Whisper White, and we've got the little branch in the same stamp set. And I'm going to tie in with my greens. I'm going to use a garden green. And stamp that 6 times. Now I'm going to fussy cut those as well. So I've finished fussy cutting all those little branches, and now I'm going to prepare the doily. So if you noticed in the card and the tag, the doily is this lovely shade of red, and that's because I did a bit of sponging. So I've got my real red stamps ink pad here and my sponge dauber, and I'm just going to sponge the colour on. While it is I've got the ink pad out, we might quickly stamp the sentiment. So the sentiment again is from the same stamp set. Got a couple of pieces of white here that it will fit on. Stamping 2, so I've got enough for both projects. I'll move those aside and I'll clean them up soon. And then I'm going to use my punch to cut those out. I've got the label punch here. I think my dogs are trying to tell me that they're hungry. I like to use lots of my off-cut white pieces, and sometimes that means you don't always have a bit that's easy to put into a punch. And using this little trick, getting a scrap piece of paper, sticking it onto the corner, and using that to maneuver the punch shape into place is really helpful. And now it's time just to put the pieces together. I'm going to cut this doily that we've just created in half, so I've got a little bit for each project. And the first thing I'm going to do is add the leaves to the back of the circle. And now I'm going to attach the bit of doily. It's going to come across the bottom like that. Just giving the doily a little fan fold. So I've just got some dimensionals for the deer now that all the other pieces are adhered to the back of the circle. Might pop that one in the body and do a half one for behind the head. Alright, so the two embellishments can now go onto the projects. Here's the card base we made earlier. And I'm going to attach that straight on to this piece here. And I might use the tear and tape adhesive for this one because I want to make sure that all these, it's a thicker embellishment now that it's layered up, and I want to make sure it sticks. And having this tape over this side is also going to help just hold all those little bits to the circle. So again, the same with the tag. I'm just going to attach it with double-sided tape directly onto the tag star. Now, to finish the tag, we're going to need to pop the sentiment on. Going to use a little bit of tape for this side where it's going to connect onto the reindeer, and here on this side I'm going to use a dimensional to lift it up from the tag base to match the height of the reindeer. To finish the tag and give it that tag detail at the top here, I've got a piece of Whisper White. I'm punching out the small circle, it's the 1/2 inch circle. Going to attach that to the top of the tag. There. Going to make a little mark right in the center. I'm going to use a hole punch just to give it that little tag topped detail. And now that's ready for thread, and it's finished, ready to wrap your gift. The card is really close to done as well. Again, I'm just going to use a little bit of tape on the side that connects it to the deer. And I'm going to use a dimensional, a 1/2 dimensional, where it's going to connect to the star, just to give it that lift to match the deer. Be sure to give those edges a lift to help give it that 3D feeling, and that's it. A tag and a card, all completed at the same time. So I hope you enjoyed that project, and I'll have another one for you again soon. Bye.